I think you have a really nice background, by the way.
I do. It feels like kind of cozy, doesn't it?
It looks a little bit Swedish. Did you take it yourself? Or what happens there?
That's good. That's good. So
Oh, nice. Well, so you are my first international guest. I mean, the series not live for a long time, so I think you're my fifth guest now, I guess. And well, live from
onward.
Sweden, Stockholm. It's lovely that you're joining us today, and you will present a very exciting tool, which is called Hubert AI. And who's Hubert? Is it your grandpa?
No, Hubert is a hiring agent that supports high volume talent acquisition teams for improving their screening processes, using structure and skill based interviews, and merge that into conversational AI world. That's what we're doing.
Okay, but where does the name come from? How did you come up with the name?
That was the question that I asked you not to ask in this.
Oh, oops.
No worries. Hubert actually stands for. We don't have a good story for it, so we will definitely come up with one. But Hubert stands for. It's the original library. Hubert's been around for 5 years, and one of the first AI libraries that we used for building these type of algorithms was called BERT, and then it became Hubert, and then it stayed there. And now, I mean, a lot of our customers really enjoy it, and it's a global name that works in multiple markets. So it's as simple as that.
It sounds really likable, like your nice uncle who always gives you money. All right.
He's very friendly. He's very, very friendly.
Yeah, okay. Well, so tell us a little bit about Hubert. How old is Hubert? And just making this super short before we move to these are that questions, but maybe give yourself a little bit of an intro.
Sure. So my name is Frederik, CEO and one of the co-founders of Hubert. So I've been with the company now for 5 years. So we were very early on to this conversational AI, which has exploded since the ChatGPT came around 2022. But we actually started building on Hubert and using conversational AI to, improve the entire application process. And I saw this brilliant technology that I believe could make a huge difference, because I see that most applications processes is still today are broken. They are not good for the candidates, and they're actually not that good for the recruiters either. There's a lot of recruiters sitting there having tons of CVs on their table to go through, but simply doesn't really have the time to do it in a proper way. And at the same time, there's a lot of candidates out there applying for work, and they get a really poor experience. Most oftenly, they don't get an experience at all. They just actually upload their CV and getting some kind of auto-generated email telling them, "Thank you for your application. We will be in contact." And next contact, that is usually, "Thank you for your application. So sorry, we have actually proceeded with somebody else," and that's not a good process.
A little bit like what you get when you travel with Deutsche Bahn.
I'm not that familiar to that.
But I mean, don't ever, just a pro tip, don't ever get coffee on the Deutsche Bahn. Don't ever do it if you're a coffee lover or anything specific. Maybe that leads me to my first this or that question. Are you either tea lover or a coffee addict?
Oh, given that I have 4 kids in the age of 5 to 14, I tend to lean towards coffee.
Oh wow, yeah, I think you won't survive without it. But and are you, well, wow, I mean, you have a natural alarm than a human alarm. Are you more of a grumpy person in the mornings or a little sunshine?
No, I think I'm more of a sunshine. I'm a kind of a morning person in general, so I wake up very early, and I've always been doing so. So I think I'm kind of friendly. I meet with my kids. I mean, they jump up in the bed and they are kind of cute. So I'm kind of friendly with them.
Okay, great. And what remote work policy does Hubert have? Is it more the work from the beach type of work policy, or are you more of an office tribe?
We are more of an office tribe, but there is no real policy like we have an office first culture. We love to spend time at the office, which I think is kind of usual for startup and scale ups. We're a great team full of brilliant people, and we like to hang around with each other. So we tend to spend most of the time at the office. Today I'm actually home, but most of the times, like 95% of all days, I'm at work, and so is my colleagues.
Okay,
But
so I mean, you're located in Stockholm, no? And that's I've never been there, honestly, so I really need to do and visit. What would you recommend visiting in Stockholm? What's your pro tip to if you ever decide to, visit Hubert?
Oh yeah, I think you should. First of all, I think you should take a boat out in the archipelago. It's like 30,000 islands just east of Stockholm, which is a very beautiful landscape. So that I would recommend to go there. There's also a great museum of an old wreck that was on at the bottom called Vasa, which is very famous, and it's a really good museum. And I will also go to some of the good restaurants in Stockholm. There are plenty of them.
Ooh, okay. Next question. Are you more a person who goes to ChatGPT and asks ChatGPT or Perplexity AI everything, or you are still Googling?
I'm very much into the AI part of that. So I'm using a lot of ChatGPT. I have to say, yes, I do.
And which AI are you using mostly? What's your most used AI or tool anyways in the office?
I would say that obviously OpenAI ChatGPT is often used, but also as we are using the Google Suite, we're using a lot of Gemini.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's pretty handy, I think, Yeah. Okay, last question. Would you rather, as you're in the office and obviously you're doing a lot to keep people there, is it more that you offer walking paths, and a desk where you can stand up, or is it more your whole team, a crew that is chilling on the couch?
I would say both. I mean, obviously we're having these desks you're describing there as a part of the office as well. But there are couches, there is good areas and spaces where you can just brainstorm, hang around, conference tables, and so on. I think it's kind of usual. We also have people in London, which does work more from home than being at the office. And I think it's Stockholm is a small city. It's easy for me. I live in a house, and we have the office in the city center of Stockholm by the central station. It takes me just 15 minutes with a bike to go there. So it's easy and convenient for everyone to meet up. And I think I get a lot of energy from hanging around with the people of Hubert. And hopefully we provide each other with energy.
Awesome. Well, now you mentioned you have twins in the age of 5. And that leads me to the question, when I do demos a lot, people are getting a lot of, fluffy language and never come to the point. And I want you to explain to 5-year-olds, so 5 minutes under 5, really short and sweet. What does your tool really do? Who is it for? And what is it? No buzzwords, please. And super strict to no solution talk.
Just exactly what are you doing? So I would say that let's start by to define the problem then. So what is the problem that we have built Hubert to solve? And I would say that we believe in two things. First of all, we can see that globally, the applications volumes are increasing, and mostly driven by candidates are using tools for mass applications out there. So during the last couple of years, we see that application volumes are increasing. At the same time, more and more people are using ChatGPT or other LLMs to fine-tune their CVs, meaning that there's really hard for a recruiter to differentiate one CV from another and really make the screening process good. So we have built Hubert to solve that problem. The massive inflow of applications more or less looking the same. So what we have done is built a solution that we call structured AI interviews. That was a fluffy world, but what in all essence, what it does is once the candidates hit the apply now button on your career website or any job board, they will meet with Hubert that will guide you through the application process, starting with collecting your contact information, and then save that into the ATS system that the employer is using. And immediately,
parsing, right?
yeah, no, not CV parsing. It's just collecting your contact information.
Yeah.
You can have your upload your CV or not. But what's unique here is that Hubert immediately invite you to the next step of the process. So directly on the career website, Hubert will offer you the opportunity to take a first screening interview, which is based on the science of a structured interview. So he conducts an interview with all people, all candidates that apply for this position. That takes around 10 to 15 minutes to complete, covers everything from hard qualification questions to experiences, motivations, behaviors, and of course, competencies and practical stuff. Based on that, Hubert will make an assessment of all the candidates and putting a score from a 0 to 100. Obviously, these questions and the way Hubert assess can be fully automized and also customized based on what this employer actually want to have there. What are the competencies you want to cover, and how you want Hubert to assess them?
Okay.
Sending that information back into the ATS will allow the recruiters to immediately identify the top matching candidates, and allowing also Hubert, those identifying the top performers, and automatically invite them to schedule an interview with a recruiter. So why is this good? I mean, of course, there are two big advantages. First of all, you create a great candidate experience, actually an amazing candidate experience. We're asking all the candidates that have met Hubert how they perceive the experience of Hubert, and on average we score 9 out of 10. 97% completes the interviews because they are so smooth to run. They can take it on whenever they have time to, outside of normal working hours, on their cell phone, on the tablet, on the desktop. So it's very much an interview it's a very user-friendly interview for the candidates. They can start the interview and drop off and get back and continue the interview. So it's very much in their way of doing it, how they want it to be done.
Now I do want to see it. Can you share your screen and guide us through this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just give me a second and I will share my screen then.
Yeah. Okay. So is it, I still can't really imagine how Hubert now looks like, but we'll see in a second, I guess.
Sure. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, but I see myself. So probably you need to. Yeah.
Sure. Let's start here then.
Okay.
So let's start by the ATS system. So every customer that we work with is having their own ATS system. So working with Hubert doesn't require you another system. You can basically, we are integrated into more than 20 ATS systems and all of the largest ones in the world. So our customers get access to our technology through their existing system. So this is a typical view in an ATS system. If you want to add Hubert to one specific role, you more or less just add it with a couple of clicks. You add a trigger where you want Hubert to appear in the process. So in this case, we want Hubert to appear immediately when the candidates apply on your career website. And then you just add a trigger. So you get access to the technology in your existing system. You choose the interview template you want to use and add it to the process. And then we're all good to go. What happens then is when you as a candidate move into the career website. So this is just a demo view or a demo job for a sales store colleague within the sales department of a retailer in London. So specifying the interview. So and what happens then is once you hit the apply now button, in most cases, you will move into an application form and then upload your CV, etc. What happens here is that you will meet with Hubert immediately, starting with collecting your email address. So in this case, let's make something up here and then continue. Then he asked for my almost there one.
See that window now, I think. Not sure why.
You can see it. Sorry, I went stop sharing here. And let's take that one more time then. Boom. I need to share in a different way then. So let's do like this. Stop sharing. Can you see my screen now? Is it?
No, I don't see a screen now.
Okay, so let's share again and the entire screen then. Share like that. Can you see my screen now? So what happens now when I click the apply now button is that Hubert will pop up immediately.
Oh yeah, now I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So and this could be fully customized and white labeled, so it will look like you're in your color as your on your website. So I will just type in my email address and then continue. And now Hubert starts to collect the contact information. So in this case, let's say this is my contact information. Here you can also add, if you want to, you can have CVs, documentation, certifications, licenses, etc. But let's go for now with just my name and address. And then Hubert saying, thank you for your application. Now my application exists within the ATS system. Immediately, he will offer you the opportunity to take an interview directly here.
So I have not yet put anything in rather than just my contact details, right? No other information. You already get an interview.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Good.
You interview everyone, basically. And what happens now is that if I start the interview, Hubert will immediately drop into the interview. And usually, right now, a majority of all the candidates decide to answer by the cell phone. So you say, hello, great to see you applied for the role at this as a retail store assistant and are interested about becoming a part of this company. And now some more information about Hubert. The interview usually takes about 15 minutes to complete.
Now, what happens if people are super surprised by like, wow, I have an interview straight away, but maybe I just pressed, the application button during maybe my commute or something, and they're like, shit, I don't have 15 minutes right now, or where's my CV or whatever. How do you handle that?
Yeah, if you don't have time to take the interview immediately, you will also get an invite to the interview through email and SMS. So you don't need to start it immediately. But on average, it takes today not more than 17 minutes for the candidates to actually, from hitting the apply now button to completed interviews. On average, that's 17 minutes.
Okay. Well, let's start this. No, I mean, what happens next?
So I can either choose here to dictate my answers or write by text first, but let's use text in this case. So shall we start? Yes. So in this case, usually or always, how are you today? I'm fine. How are you?
What if somebody is just honest and it's like, I don't feel good today? What happens
in that way? I'm really tired. in that way, in that sense, Hubert will, in a polite way, okay, but are you ready for an interview then? Let's get started. Or would you like to wait?
It's so nice, like, to be asked, like, how are you today? And you're like,
exactly.
This sucks.
And the reply, when I also asked Hubert, how is it? He also said, I'm glad to hear you're fine. I'm doing well, thank you. And a smiley here. So it becomes a rich conversation, an encouraging conversation for the candidates to take. So first question here is hard qualification questions. And the main reason for that is, of course, if Hubert finds that a person is not qualified for this role, he will let them know, because he doesn't want to use their time if they're not if they're not qualified for this work. So will you be 18 years or older when you start in the job? So in this case, let's say yes. If I would say no here, Hubert will say, okay, so sorry about to hear that, but that is a hard requirement for this role. So Hubert is also providing that kind of feedback that you, in most cases as a candidate, doesn't really get in a normal application process. So let's type yes here, and then we move on. So immediately here, all hard qualification, aided question, button-based question. Do you currently have the right to work and reside in the UK? Let's say yes as well. Okay, click the options that suits you the best in the multi-choice selection below. What documentation do you have to prove you're eligible to work in the UK? Let's say I have a British passport in this case. What's your primary occupation? Let's say I'm just a job seeker here. Are you currently, or have you previously worked as a retail store assistant? So let's say yes here. Okay, how many years have you been working? 4 years? Cool. Great. Could you tell me more about that experience? Please include employer, role, tasks, and during what time period you did this? Sure. Or assistant at Tesco.
Is there also maybe at this point the opportunity to upload your CV, just to skip that sort of questions, because you're like, oh, now I have to type in all my experience? No?
No, I mean, obviously you can upload the CV, but if you want to follow the structured interview, the science behind the structured interviews, we want to create a fair process where all the candidates get exactly the same questions, but
Yeah.
also is evaluated exactly the same way. So that's what we adhere to, but if you're talking to Hubert one more time, or if you're applying for another position within this company, Hubert has the intelligence of a machine. I mean, meaning he has a great memory, so he will remember everyone he's talked to. So next time you apply for the similar position, he could say, "Okay, hi Sandra, nice to meet you again. I've seen you applied for a similar role before. Would you like to reuse some of the answers that you provided last time for these type of?" So you don't need to answer the questions again.
Months, no, because
Oh,
in the last 6 months, because otherwise you have to delete the.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay, but just a quick question here too, because would you then say this is more suited for blue collar jobs, one could say? Because if someone asked me like, what's your previous experience, I would have like 3 pages of like detailed stuff in there, and this is very similar to WhatsApp applications, I'd say, where you don't need that much information, maybe, or have that many criteria, let's say. What's your stance on this?
Oh, it's absolutely true, I would say. I mean, if we start where, if we go back to where I started, I mean, where you see the problem is a volume-based problem. Hence, Hubert is for high volume hiring in most cases. So if you experience the problem of having difficulties of, going through all the applications you receive, Hubert might be your solution. Most of us, we work with some of the largest companies in the world that experience this, and we in most cases we are working on the volume side, meaning the blue collar frontline personnel is the type of roles where you in most cases experience this type of massive volumes of applications.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And so let's say you have different types of roles on your websites, or maybe you're, let's say, an energy company and you have electricians on the one side and then your headquarter on the other side. So then would you create different experiences for both and still use Hubert.ai for all of those jobs, or would you just use it for specific jobs where it makes sense?
I never recommend any of our customers to use Hubert on all type of jobs. It really doesn't make sense. It depends on the problem that you experience in your process. I mean, if you are searching for some kind of specialist, IT specialist of a certain kind, the main problem in those type of processes will be probably to find that type of competence. And in those cases, you won't experience any volumes. And setting up Hubert for managing that, I don't think that is a good advice, because I think you would like to, as quickly as possible, build a relationship to those that apply for that roles, because it's only going to be 1, 2, or 3. So I think you probably will reach out to them immediately and try to build a relationship. We do have a number of customers that are using Hubert for all their roles, and the main reason for that is because they really want to ensure that it becomes a fair screening process, meaning that they want everybody to be treated exactly the same way, with the same questions, and be evaluated exactly the same way. But I would say the best practices is that our customers are using Hubert where they experience volume.
And now, talking already about that topic, how do you ensure a bias-free AI? How did you manage that, and on what data has Hubert.ai been trained?
Sure, I would never say that there is a process that is completely bias-free, because that wouldn't be the truth. But I think from a design perspective, how we built the service, we rely very heavily on the structured interviews. And that's the first thing. I mean, we will ask the people exactly the same questions. We are assessing the answers exactly the same way. And when we have trained the models, we're going into the answers and separating the person from the answers, and just looking at the answers with professional recruiters, how they should be evaluated and how they should be scored. And that also mitigate some of the biases, separating persons from answers. So we treat them, and we do that. We treat the answers and rate the answers and annotate the answers with multiple recruiters rating the same answers before we train our models. And before we put any models into production, we will look at the biases from various perspectives, from age, gender, ethnicity, etc., to see if there is any biases built into the models. And we would never launch one model before we have checked that before it goes live.
Okay.
We also ensure that all candidates within the same process are treated equally, meaning that we have a version system built into the product that all candidates within one job process will be evaluated with those exactly the same models. So we don't upgrade or update any models within one job process.
And could you then also say that you're complying with the EU AI Act already?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been following the EU AI Act closely since we founded the company. So already when it was on the draft stage, I was following it closely. So we built Hubert from day one to be fully explainable. So unlike most AI solutions out there that are LLM based, Hubert is not LLM based. We own our own data. We built our own models. And that allows us to be fully compliant, because that allows us to be fully explainable. We can tell the candidate, if they're asking, why did I get a certain score? And on a question basis, we can go down and see, okay, you got this score because of that. And that is a uniqueness of Hubert. So you as a buyer of Hubert can feel fully comfortable that, yes, it's transparent. Everybody that takes an interview will know that it's speaking to an AI. If they're asking why why they got a certain score, they can get a Hubert receipt explaining to them exactly the way Hubert has rated their answers.
Are they already now getting the score transparently, or so? What happens if I finish this up here?
Yeah.
Let's see.
So Hubert continues. We just asked. Hubert just asked about my previous experience, and he continues. Nice. Do you have any other previous experience that could be useful in this role? So let's say yes. I worked in a shop, and see how he responds here. So okay, in this case, Hubert is not really satisfied with my answer. So he says, okay, great. To get a clearer picture, could you tell me what your role was and the name of the company? So I was working as a store assistant. Yeah, cool. Great. So in this case, he follows up again. Okay, understood. Could you please share the name of the company? Of course. Let's say I worked at H&M. Yeah, that of course that was.
That's such a cliche, no?
Yeah, sure. So cool. And Hubert responds, got it. So you were a store assistant at H&M. So in this case, he follow up just to dig deeper and get an understanding of, capture the full picture of what was my work. That was an additional experience that could be useful here.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please tell us why you're a particularly good fit for this role? Sure. I both have the experience and the competencies for doing great work, and I also have a great passion for fashion, and I also like your company. I just made it up. We will see. That's wonderful to hear. For how long do you plan to work in this position? Let's say I have a long-term commitment for more than 2 years. Now we're moving into what's called competence and situational based questions. So in this case, Hubert will ask me, could you give me an example of a situation where you provided excellent customer service? Please remember to answer in detail, and in your answer include an example that is relevant for this role. Describe the situation, your actions, and your results and outcomes. You're probably familiar with the STAR format, Sandra, covering the situation, task, action, and results. And that is these questions are based on that scientific framework for how you're supposed to run a situational-based or competence-based interview. And moving that directly into Hubert here. So let's have a. I will just copy an answer, prepared an answer for. You don't need to write that long for that. So what I say here is, yes, I have a lot of examples of this, but the one that springs to mind is at H&M when I had a customer that was returning an item that had come unstitched and she wasn't happy. I listened to her concern, empathized, and diffused her frustration, and then I offered to help her find alternatives. So she was so pleased with me service. We ended up shopping for an hour, and she spent almost £500. So let's send that into Hubert if he's happy with that answer. It must be. That's amazing. Your ability to emphasize and assist really made a difference. Great job. So he will.
That's already some feedback, not just like, hey, thanks for entering this.
Exactly, and that I think that contributes to keeping the engagement up for the candidate. So, and that's why we see that these amazing completion rates. As I mentioned, they are 96% of all candidates that start the Hubert interview will complete the interview, which is absolutely fantastic, I would say. Moving down, could you give me an example of when you worked independently? So in this case, let's provide an answer for that as well and see what happens. In this case, Hubert responds, it sounds like you really stepped up and showed great initiative during challenges time. Your effort didn't go unnoticed by the store manager, which is fantastic. So my example was, yes, actually, at Mark & Spencer, I had a poor manager and he frequently didn't show up for work. So I stepped in his case. So that's good. And we have a final question about a situational-based question here as an example. And this is where I'm taking initiative. And once at H&M, we had a load of Halloween theme items that were not selling and were getting closer and closer to Halloween. I realized they were not in an obvious place. So I spoke to my manager and suggested we rearrange things quickly to make them more obvious when entering the store. This had a great impact and brought more people in. We sold out of all Halloween stuff, blah, blah, blah. And Hubert responds, that's fantastic. Your quick thinking and initiative really paid off. Okay, and then we move on into more practical stuff. In this case, we inform the candidates that they need to work in shifts, both daytime and at nighttime. So and weekends from time to time, which can be which is often missed in these type of high volume roles by the candidates. So we ensure that all the candidates that actually complete the interviews get a good understanding of the company itself. So let's say I can work all of the above here and send it into Hubert. And now Hubert is asking, if you were to be hired, how soon could you start this position? So let's say that I can start tomorrow. That must be a good thing. And the company and Hubert also allows if you to share videos, etc., within the chat, so you as a candidate can get a better understanding of the work life at this company. Are you ready for this company? Yes, I am. Let's say I am. And in this case, thanks and congratulations for a great interview. In this case, we also allow the candidate to schedule a final interview. So we let them know immediately in the chat. So we have completed the interview now in like 10 minutes, and I'm one of the top performers here. Who will let them know that they have proceeded to the next step in this recruitment process, and that could do, in this case, it is to schedule your own interview as a next step, or it could be to take another test, and then he will move you into that test as well. So let's say I want to have would like to have it next week, an interview, and then click next. Some of our customers actually allow the candidate to schedule an interview in real time with recruiters, meaning that they can click and then move into an interview like that.
Okay, so how does that work? So something pops up and then,
So in that case, we ask them how they want to have that interview with the recruiter, if they want it to be chat-based, video-based, or if they want it by phone. And then we automatically call them up or open the chat window, and they will meet with a final recruiter immediately.
Oh, wow. That's okay. How do I set this up though? The whole workflow. And another thing I noticed in between is, so just having, maybe it's a little bit comparable to like the whole social recruiting tools, like WhatsApp applications. So what I didn't see during the journey here is that a lot of the EVP is being weaved in, so maybe I get not too much information, but giving a lot of information myself.
Yeah.
How do you solve this? I mean, of course, there's this one video that I could watch, but is there maybe a bit more context in between? Is there the ability to be like, I'm asking this because yada, yada, the way we were doing things, because for me, a not, I wouldn't say bad, but a not great experience is always when I am supposed to answer something, but don't have any context for my answer, So it's like, I don't know, let's say, do you like the number 3, and you're like,
yeah,
yes, it's like, why is this important,
Yeah. I mean, the entire interview can be fully customized the way you want it, and it allows you to put the context in there prior to the questions, of course, and you can decide how you want Hubert to introduce the question, explain why is it so important with customer service, maybe telling them that customer service is a core value for us, and that is one of the things we're working with a lot, and we are proud to bring that to all the customers in store of this type of company. So it allows you to tell a story along during the interview for the candidates as well, and that is completely up to you how you want to phrase that.
But also, how do I now set this up myself? Is it difficult? Do I need extra support doing this, or is it like stupid easy to set up? Also, of course, I need to probably train the chatbot with, what with information from my company. How does that look like?
I would say it's stupid simple. It is. Usually it takes for an enterprise customers of ours, it usually takes between 3 and 5 hours of efficient work to get it implemented. And you will probably, the lead time will probably be about 2 weeks or something like that before you can start with your first soft launch of the usage of Hubert. So it's super simple. The process starts with us planning the onboarding of this customer, then moving into setting all the technology in place. And as we are having native integrations to more or less all the big ATS system, it's just a matter of clicking a button to allow access to the technology directly in their system. So to set up between 5 and 10 interview guides covering your high volume roles. That usually covers like 80% of all volumes globally in your company, because there are not that many high volume roles within most companies. For a retailer, obviously, store personnel is the kind of high volume roles you want. Customer support agents is another one. And there might be a couple of more roles, but that constitutes for most of the volumes for these companies. Setting that up, either you start from the beginning, building your own template. But most cases, I mean, a store personnel, Hubert has default templates for store personnel that you can start from, and then just edit them, adding questions, setting the context, and make it your own. Set the coloring of the chat, etc., so it becomes a part of you. And your company.
The template, why does it take 3 to 5 hours still?
And to get 5 to 10 different templates in place, I would say. And you want to test them, because once you have completed them, you want to go through them. You also want to set the communication. So in cases there is a candidate that doesn't want to start the interview immediately, you will have an email that is sent out. You will have an SMS that is sent out. There are also some reminders and stuff you want to get in place. So, for example, if a candidate start answering a chat, and then lose connectivity and wants to get back, I mean, Hubert will send a reminder to them with a link and some communication again. So all these kind of communication, as we're working with global enterprises, they want to steer that. They want it to be perfect, so they can do that.
Yeah.
And that's why it takes 3 to 5 hours in total to get it up and running. I think it's kind of quick.
And can you bring us to the dashboard again? So have a look at.
Sure. So what happens then as a next step here is once you've completed the interview, if you don't allow the access to book your interviews, you can also get a score directly in the system. So you will see the score as an icon on each and every candidate. You can see my screen now, Sandra?
I can see it.
Perfect. So all the candidates are automatically moved in this case, your Kanban view. This could be a list, and in a list, Hubert shows up as a new column that will sort the candidates from the best ones to the worst ones. So in this case, Hubert's automatically sorts the candidate into Hubert not qualified. Those are all the candidate that doesn't fulfill the hard requirement. But if you as a candidate fulfill the hard requirement, you are moved into either Hubert passed or Hubert leads. Hubert leads are obviously the ones that is below or above a certain threshold that you as a customer have set into this role. So you can immediately identify them. And if you go into this candidate, you can also click on the application summary. So you can get a summary of the candidate's interview. So in this case, it would look something like this. So Sandra McCall, in this case, has the overall score of 92. We can see that there's an information question about the working permit. She has responded yes, so she's qualified, but it's just an information question. It doesn't really affect the overall score. But moving down, we can see that this person has more than 5 years of experience, she has more than 3 years of experience, and that is not a hard requirement, but it is seen as a merit. It's not a hard requirement, but if they have some experience, it's a merit. And in this case, this customer has said that that's going to give this candidate an additional 5 bonus points. So this could be fully customized. So to what you value as an employer in this type of roles. Going into details into the experience, we can see that the scoring is 90 because this person has vast experience working for many years with different retailers. If we go down, we can see that this is a girl that can motivate. Why she's a particularly good fit for this role. And moving down to the star questions, we also see that she can, she provide a great star answer, including a situation, task, action, and behavioral anchors that we're looking for, and the results and outcomes. Going down further, we can see the language and skills and the occupation time. And if you, as a recruiter, feels that this is a good fit for me, I would like to accept them, then I just click thumbs up. And Hubert will automatically move the candidates within the system to the next step in the recruitment process within your ATS system here. So in this case, that would be to schedule an interview or move them into the next phase. That could be invite them for another type of assessment.
So when is the time that the information now goes into the ATS or transfers into the ATS? Because this is, I always refer to the ATS as your Rome. You always want to go there, and have everything stored in there.
Yeah.
When is the point that you transfer the information there, and how is that done?
And so it's multiple points. If you start the application process, it's once you've typed in your email address, and your name. And if you allow the upload of any type of documentations, it goes down there. So it creates the candidates in the early stage of the chat, and then once you move into the interview, and once you go through the interview, Hubert will save your information as you go. So you will always be able to go back to the interview, but we're sending it after you have completed the interview back into the ATS system.
And all the information I gather, is it also then in the scorecard of the ATS?
Yes, it is. I mean, you can get access to all the you can have a CSV file, you can have a PDF in there, so you can get a summary of it, but you can also get a link like I use now in this application or in this process.
Okay, but what other tabs do you have in the dashboard? And maybe also another question. What do you think? Why is it necessary to have here a chatbot, basically, instead of just a form, that where everything is being filled out that you would usually probably have in social recruiting, right? You click an Instagram ad where this easy application, it guides you through this. Do you have this? Do you have that? And you enter all this information. Why would you say the AI add-on or aspect matters?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. First of all, we can see that the conversion rate is more than 4 times as high as a traditional application form because of the engagement that conversational AI creates. It's it is very beneficial in many ways. It creates a better candidate experience, as Hubert will let you know immediately if you don't fulfill any of the hard requirements, which is not the case when you're filling out a form. And also, if you ask for some open-ended answers in a form, and you provide those answers, if you're missing some information, there's no way a form can tell you, I missed this information. And with Hubert will actually follow up, as he did on the experience question there. He was asking you to elaborate. Can you tell me a little bit more about and clarify the role you were having? And I really don't get the full picture, which was the company you were working for. So he ensures that we get all that in. And it's the same with going into a situational based question. That could be hard to explain a situation where you've shown that you can deliver excellent customer service, and you start to explain that. And if you're missing out on the situation, Hubert will ask you to elaborate. Could you give it some more context? What was the situation you did it in? And very often there is a candidate is missing to provide some information about the outcomes. And Hubert will not be happy with your answer until he get the full picture of this. Obviously, we are in a chat, so if you're not able to do that after a couple of attempts, Hubert will move on to get the process going.
And the evaluation,
Sure.
I'm just thinking, like, if I put in, like, I work at a computer hardware store instead. I worked at H&M, which is closer to the profile.
Yeah.
Would your rating then sink a little bit instead of the other one, because you want to have a rating and you want to know what is the best fit, even if you didn't say explicitly like this person has to work to have worked in fashion. But of course, if you only want to talk to 5 people, and then does that get ranked higher? Like, the context always is important, not what did you do as a work, but where did you do it?
Yeah, so it depends. That's the answer to that. It depends on the type of question. So you, as the recruiter, is always in charge of how you want Hubert to behave and how you want him to assess.
Yeah.
So and that's completely up to you, and you can steer that. So that's a part of setting up Hubert as well. When it comes to the experience questions, there is a number of different parameters you can decide how you want Hubert to behave. So, for example, if you have been working in the same industry, how long period have you worked, and what kind of companies have you worked at, and what kind of roles have you been into? Those kind of things you could decide within the backend system of Hubert. And if you go into a star-based question, you can also decide how you want to weight the different competencies. So for us, it's more important than with customer service than taking initiative. So it's completely out to you how you want Hubert to assess.
Okay, can you take us back to the dashboard and guide us through what else we can explore there?
Sure. So Hubert's a very, very simple service. So in this case, we're into the ATS system. So that's the entire ATS system that they are using. What you can do with Hubert, of course, is to go in here and check all your jobs, check the statistics of the jobs, etc.
Yeah, so that was nice. Statistics and data is so important.
Exactly. So you can basically go into any type of job and see how many applications you have in here. So let's look into an administrator here, an administrator role, and then you can go up and check the statistics and see how many has answered here. Now it's a 0 in this case. But you can have all the data to see how fast we are moving from applications to completed, how many leads you have, how many passed you have, how many not qualified you have, and so on. And within the system itself, you are always able to move the candidates manually between the different stages and so on.
What does career side mean? Can I create my own career side with Hubert or not? No. Okay.
No, you can't. And the main reason for that, I will stop sharing now. The main reason for that is that we are not an ATS, and we don't want to become an ATS. That's a part of the ATS system. So we're just an integrated technology that puts some intelligence into your ATS system that will solve one of the biggest problems in the high volume recruitment industry, and that is the screening. Everybody's talking about it right now, like it's the biggest problem in the high volume recruitment space right now, and we just bring that intelligence into your existing system.
And what other automatizations could I build with this, except for the initial phase? I think you showed us, there are other triggers then too. What else could I do with Hubert then?
Hubert is very much focused on the top funnel, screening out them, scheduling them to an interview. But Hubert can, of course, hand over to other types of assessments, like to skills tests and the personality tests and so on. But that is for other companies to solve those tests. We don't do that. We just do one thing: brilliant conversational AI with a high richness and solving the biggest problem probably in the industry right now.
Yeah, talking about industry, what industries are probably the best suited ones for Hubert?
For Hubert, so obviously we're working with the largest staffing and recruitment companies in the world right now. We are also providing our services to major enterprises, plus 5,000 employees within the retail sector, within the hospitality sector, within the call centers, banking industries, in the manufacturing industries, automobile industries. So massive companies that experience a high inflow of candidates, having a lot of employees and hiring a lot. That's where we makes the most sense, I would say.
And in what languages is this available?
So right now, Hubert is available in plus 25 languages, which is one of our USPs, covering more than 50 markets globally. So that's why we're adding more languages all the time. Last week we added a couple of more languages, so that is always built out. But right now Hubert is running in 44 markets.
Okay, wow, that's a lot. Okay, and what happens? Let's say, so can I select the language initially as an applicant if the language isn't that important, let's say?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get given an opportunity to answer in multiple languages, and you as a candidate can choose the language you want to communicate in.
And would then, all the answers be translated into my preferred language as an HR person, Because, okay, that's good. Well, I'd say that was super interesting and super different from what I've seen so far. So, it's quite cool to see what's out there. So thank you so much. I think we'll come to an end. Probably have tons of more questions out there, but if anyone of you has questions, then we pop the name of Frederik and the contact details in the chat, and also the link to Hubert.ai. And wow, thank you so much, Frederik.
Thank you, Sandra, and just let me know. You can just forward any questions if you're not able to answer them. I will drop that to you.